Ebonee's creativity.
Hey everybody, I'm Ebony. This is Ebonee's Creativity. Thank you so much for joining me here on my channel. Today's video is going to be a furniture flip, and I am showing you the china cabinet that I did score for free off OfferUp. I do have a video how to score free furniture on this channel, so I will put that in the description box below so you can check that one out after you finish watching this one. But right now we're going to jump into this china cabinet, and I'm just going to kind of walk you through the piece. So as I open this, you can see that it is very clean, and that makes me extremely happy because some of the stuff that I get for free is not always the best. So kind of just giving you a once over of this. Everything is pretty much intact. You will notice that there's one shelf which came off the little bracket pieces that hold it, but that's what this piece is here at the bottom. And so yeah, it's a really simple piece, but I think I have a really cute idea, which is to make it into one of those little coffee kind of bar areas that people are doing now. So that's where I'm going with this piece. You can see it has two little storage areas at the bottom, which would be perfect for like mugs or cups, or if you're like me and you love tumblers. I love tall tumblers. I have like a collection. It's really a thing, but those will fit down there. There is one area of concern right here, and it just needs a sanding. I'm sure I'll be able to get that taken care of pretty quickly. So yeah, pretty much a really good piece. The glass is intact. That crisscross design on the side glass panels is not my favorite, but hopefully I will update the rest of this piece so well that it will not matter because I don't know how to get rid of that, nor am I interested in trying to. So yeah, here's the sides. Really, it's a really nice piece all over. Just a few little scrapes and scratches, but nothing that, you know, Ebony can't conquer. So yeah, pretty basic. Here's the once over. The back panel is in good condition too. In the past couple of furniture flips, I've had to replace the back panel piece, but as you can see here, or maybe not, the lighting is not always the best, but here's a better picture. It's in good shape, and I am ready to go ahead and get started working on this piece. So as always, I'm going to start out with my prep work, and I don't have much to do on this piece, thank God. So I grabbed my hand sander, my little palm sander, and some 120 grit sandpaper, and just smoothed out the scratched up areas that I showed you previously. Up next, I'll be cleaning the piece, so I'm going to grab my Totally Awesome, which comes from the Dollar Tree, and I am going to be using some napkins. Probably a microfiber cloth is better, but I just have napkins out here in my shed, so I'm just going to use those. And I'm going to remove the shelf, and then I am going to just wipe the whole piece down. And although I did get this piece for free, as I previously mentioned, I was very lucky because it was pretty clean. It came from inside someone's home. Most of the stuff I get for free is off the street, and it's not always clean. So I was super glad that the cleaning went pretty fast on this because there wasn't much to clean. Step number 3 is going to be prepping for paint. So what I am going to be doing is taking this packaging tape because I cannot find any painter's tape anywhere. And I'm just going to get as close as I can to the edge of this glass, and I'm just going to tape off all the glass parts. Eventually I'll put a plastic bag over the middle section, but you'll see that a little bit later. And here is how this looks all taped off. Up next, I am going to be removing the hardware because I wouldn't want to get paint on those. And I think this is going to be one of very few flips that I'm going to be keeping the original hardware in its original condition. So I definitely don't want to get any paint on these. So I'm just going to be removing them. So here is a look at this piece all prepped for paint. I have taped off the two side portions of glass and the edge of the middle portion. And then I just put trash bags over the larger part in the middle and remove the hardware. So up next, we will start to prime. And as always, I'm going to be priming using my favorite, the Ben Shellac primer. and this does a really good job of prepping pieces for paint, and it also blocks any wood tannins, which won't be an issue with this piece because I'm going with a dark color, but it's just a force of habit at this point to use this primer because it has never failed me. And I'm just going to be taking my Dollar Tree paint kit, nothing special here, and I am just going to be getting into the really tight areas, the trim pieces and such, with the paintbrush that comes in the kit, and then I'm going to roll out the rest of the areas with the foam brush that comes in the kit. So I try hard not to use any special materials that are not readily available to you guys, and I really think you guys appreciate that. So this is just one Dollar Tree kit. I can't say enough positive things about the Ben primer. It just really does a great job of helping the paint adhere to painted furniture pieces. So I always do 2 coats. I'm just quickly going to show you how this one looked after my first coat. As you can see, everything is not always perfect after the first coat, but generally with 2 coats of Ben primer, you cannot go wrong. This is particularly important if you're painting a piece with a light color. You'll want to make sure that the Ben primer is very opaque. You don't want to be able to see through it at all. But as for me, I am going with a dark color for this project, so the primer is not as important, but I still like to do a thorough job, so I did give this 2 coats, although I don't think I have any footage after the second coat. This will just show you how it looked after the first coat. And if you do use the Ben primer and you find that there's some texture left over from your paint roller, you could always smooth that out after you do the second coat with just some light grit sandpaper. So after you complete your second coat of primer, you can move on to the next step, which is painting, like I'm about to do. As I referenced earlier, I love making these videos with tools that are easily accessible, but I just can't help but try this new tool that I picked up from OfferUp. It was brand new. It's a little dusty because it was in an open box, but other than that, it has never been used. It is a spray gun. It is electric because I have not mastered the tools that you use with an air compressor yet. So this is our first time trying it out. I've never tried to use it before, so let's thin out the paint because I have seen other YouTubers do that. I know this is a really thick chalk paint, and I'm using the Waverly ink, by the way. And so I'm going to add a little bit of water. I don't really know an exact recipe, so I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and put a little bit of water, enough to make what I think is a good texture, and then we will use this spray gun for the first time together. So I've had this machine for a while. I was just too intimidated to use it. I got really used to using my little Dollar Tree paintbrush kits, and I was very scared to venture out. As you can see, I have too much paint coming out initially, and I did get a few drips, but I just wiped them with the foam brush, and it turned out really good. I really like this. It's particularly for a piece like this that has a lot of detail work at the bottom. I would have spent all day trying to get that with a paintbrush, which is what made me just go ahead and try this. So I'm very glad I have this. Very glad I tried it. Here's this kind of a sneak peek of how it turned out. I didn't want to give you the whole thing because you will have to wait to the end for that. So I'm going to be adding a couple of accessories to this piece to give it that bar feel. And so I bought this socket set from Lowe's, and I painted it matte black with the Rust-Oleum spray paint. I'm going to be using that socket set to hold up this dowel that is also from Lowe's, and I'm just going to be adding some of this aged oak gel stain to it with the napkin, and I'm literally just going to rub it on the dowel just so it can match the interior of the cabinet. So I picked up these cup hooks from Walmart, and I am going to be laying out my tape measure and laying down the dowel and determining where I want the cup hooks to go. These will be used to hold mugs since it's going to be a coffee bar that we're making. And so I am just going to take my drill. I have a bit attached to it, and I'm going to pre-drill some holes where the cup hooks will go into this dowel. I'm not going all the way through, just deep enough to make an impression in the wood. Give me a little bit of a starter hole where I can go back in and hand screw my cup hooks into the dowel like I'm doing here. So here you can see what I've done a little bit better. It's just the holes that I pre-drilled and then the one cup hook that I've attached so far. If you've never seen this kind of hardware used before, this is just a socket, and the dowel simply sits inside the little cupped lipped area on the socket, like so. So I just measured to determine where I wanted to place my dowel, and I went ahead and just screwed in the screws that came with the socket set. It was very simple installation, and I also added back in the shelf, and this is how it looks. It's been a few days since I started working on this piece, so I forgot about the initial scratch marks that were right here at the door opening. So what I did was go ahead and sand that down with a piece of 100 grit sandpaper wrapped around a sanding block. And I was able to smooth it out enough to where it didn't scrape anymore when I opened it. And I went ahead and redid the paint job in the area that was affected and the area on the side of the door there that I missed with the sprayer initially. I don't typically show doing the top coat because I feel like it's redundant since it's so similar to doing the actual paint job. But since I did not roll out the paint this time and I'm using the technique of tinting my top coat this time, I figured I would add in a little clip. So I'm using the polyacrylic clear satin as always, and I'm mixing in 2 little dollops of my paint. I don't know what measurement that is, but to me it's 2 dollops, and I'm going to fill up my tray with my polyacrylic, and then I am going to just mix them together until it is uniform, and I'm going to apply that to my piece using a roller. If I start to see texture after I do my second coat of top coat, then I will go back and do a really light coat with a foam brush. After my top coat is on and dry, I am ready for the big reveal. But before I get into that, I'm going to request that you subscribe to my channel. I do room makeovers, furniture flip videos, chit chat videos, fashion videos, also thrift store haul videos. So if you're interested in any of that, please click below the video and subscribe to my channel. And without further ado, here are some final clips of the finished cabinet. So I'm going to show you 2 different options to style this cabinet, and you leave me a comment and let me know which one you would go with, option number 1 or option number 2. If you have the time, please select another one of my videos to watch from the choices on the screen. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys.